BBTAG is essentially the anime fighting game version of Smash. During its runtime with DLC, people had been clamoring for a Sendan Kagura rep. Then in 2019, everybody's wish was granted when Yumi got into the game. And everybody despises her. I will slay thee! But if people wanted her in this badly, why did everybody betray her? Well... Chapter 1. The Stagger Pressure. Stagger pressure is incredibly basic in this game. You make your opponent block fast attacks with little recovery, vary up the input timings to potentially catch your opponent mashing, and reset pressure when your opponent is too scared to match you out of it. Now for most characters, this is balanced because their attacks are minus on block. That means opponents can start up a new action before you can, allowing them to escape from reset attacks. Even for fighters whose stagger attacks are plus on block, they generally have to spend more time running up to start all over again. Yumi doesn't care about those guidelines. 5A is a frame 6 attack that pushes her forward and has decent range. Remember this. It's a generous -1 on block and even catches jumpers. And in this game, aerial opponents suffer 2 more frames of recovery, making this attack plus on block against aerial opponents. So already you have access to a top tier pressure reset. Opponents can't even throw out of this at most ranges. It even offers high damage as a starter. But it's even more busted when combined with 2A. 2A is mostly a cut and dry move. It's frame 7 and you can alternate between it and 5A using them up to 3 times per block string. And it's a low. Also it's 0 on block. Yeah, you're reading that correctly. Yumi can rush back in after 2A with a frame 6 5A. This kind of 5A beats nearly every frame 7 or slower normal in the game. Character-specific options help, but even those are somewhat unreliable. Even against frame 6 attacks, at worst it trades and resets back to neutral. Against most frame 6 attacks though, a counter hit lets you combo for free. But what about frame 5 attacks? First off, only 6 characters in this game have a frame 5 normal. But Ragna's and Makoto's frame 5 attacks whip against crouchers. Same with Akihiko's if he's not at point blank range. Also, you know, he's Akihiko. Because of this, your opponent has to guess if you'll catch a jump with 5A or call out the frame 5 with 2A. So really, only 3 characters can reliably call out your resets this way. Of course, for various reasons, actually doing so is still a bravely uphill fight. In most matchups, your opponent must either push block you, use a backdash, or reversal you. But Stagger is so strong against push block because of its ability to fish for accidental DP. They can of course counter you with an intentional DP, or meter reversal once they figure you out. However, they better be damn sure that DP is going to work. More on this in the final chapter. Backdash can sometimes work, but it's really unreliable. Especially in the corner. So in summary, these 2 moves make Yumi a pressure-inflicting monster. And these strengths come together to give Yumi the 2nd best stagger pressure in the game. First place still goes to this asshole though. Chapter 2. The Schmix. Hopefully, you understand just how strong Yumi's tick throws are. Since opponents can't match grab against Yumi, they're stuck reacting to the grab and teching. Now, it's definitely possible to react to a throw. The tech window is 14 frames, or just under a quarter second. However, you must expect and wait for this specifically. And that's quite risky when she has so many dirtier mix-ups to watch out for. Dancing as one young is a fairly interesting deca attack for pressure. It's dash cancelable, and it can whiff cancel into any of its follow-ups. Much like her Stagger pressure, countering this attack is an uphill battle. And that's exactly what you want when it can cancel into mix-ups. Input Fight C, you get an overhead that combos. Input 2C, you get a low attack that goes into aerial range. More on this in the final chapter. This is a pretty nice mix-up, especially if you delay the overhead to stock option select. Of course, there's one mix-up tool that makes Yumi a goddess amongst men and women. Yeah, on top of all these crazy offensive tools Yumi has, she also has an instant overhead. She needs an assist to combo off this, but it's a dastardly tool for several reasons. Reason 1, it doubles as a cross-up. Yumi's cross-ups with JA and JB aren't too impressive. She can't connect them at all after a single jump. And the spacing to use them after an air dash is way too stiff. You can land cross-ups easily with JC, however. Plus it's a lot faster, so you may as well. You even get to choose whether or not it crosses up at all. So, right off the bat, you have a 3-way mix-up with Yumi. Low, overhead, and cross-up. Reason 2, its 50-50 properties are way too strong. Thus far, this is basically Teddy's JC without the ability to combo solo. Maybe you think that balances it, but here's the thing. Yumi can use 5 low attacks in a row. Even more than that if she's willing to go for a 2A reset at some point. Your opponent is going to be used to constantly getting struck at by lows. So when you finally decide it's overhead time, your opponent is going to have a hard time realizing that. Oh, and by the way, remember that dust loop description? 2A is jump cancelable on block. This character can jump cancel into an instant overhead from a f***ing low! Anyway. Reason 3. She can cross up cornered opponents. Corner pressure is incredibly powerful, especially in this game. But fortunately, you're generally safe from cross-ups in the corner. But some characters have special options to let them break the rules and cross up anyway. Looking at you, Azrael. And guess what? Yumi is one such fighter! After having a 3-way mix-up, after getting to cancel from a low into an instant overhead, after pummeling your poor opponent into the corner, you get to keep all of that without losing anything! And if you convert off an assist, well, more on that in the final chapter. Chapter 3. The Neutral Game. With how frankly busted her offense is, maybe you think she has a neutral deficit. Well, to put it bluntly, that's adorable. This is BBTAG, the land of bullshit. Her run speed is great. The initial portion is average speed before accelerating to Blake's run speed. Her air mobility isn't lacking either. Her normals are about as stubby as Seth's on average. Normally this would let you poke her out easily, but there's a problem. Her 5B is an actual poke! And it's even a great combo starter. More on that in the final chapter. She can actually challenge people to melee fights unless you just don't care about that attack. But even then, here's what really defines Yumi's neutral. Snowbird lets Yumi pick her battles however she wants. The A version is a pretty fast projectile like Narukami's Beat Zio. But it has even better recovery, letting her safely use it from the ground. Of course, if you're truly paranoid, you can TK the input. Or you can air dash backwards to use it just before landing. Actually, the latter technique adds a dirty layer to Yumi's stagger pressure game. As I said earlier, she can use one of her normals to stagger or reset pressure. But she can also use Snowbird to cover her opponent's defensive option. Your opponent uses a defensive option preemptively? This will probably cover it. Your opponent blocks it, you can disengage back to neutral. Or rush in for a reset. That works best in the corner, but you can also use Fight B mid-screen. And whether you're in pressure or neutral, you have a downwards angle in the air just in case you need it. She also has the X-Snowbird to catch reckless opponents. And in Resonance, it just scams neutral. More on that in the final chapter. And guess what? Opponents aren't truly safe after breaking through your zoning. You have dancing as one yin to get guaranteed corner carry. More on that in the final chapter. So in summary, even once your opponents get past your oppression in neutral, it can all go wrong in an instant. Zoners can give her trouble, but she has a full-screen sniping super. It has its flaws, but it's still strong enough that she can competently fight zoners. Final chapter.
The answer!
Thus far, I've gone over most of what makes Yumi so despised. However, I've mentioned multiple points briefly where I said more would come in the final chapter. So you may be asking yourself, what is it I'm going over with them all at once? And the answer is... Chapter 4. The Damage. BBTAG is no stranger to high damage combos. Seriously, BBTAG is no stranger to high damage combos. But most characters need good setups and heavy resource usage to get such asinine damage. Now, Yumi on her own can get quite high damage. By spending a bar, she can easily inflict just under 8k. Her primary means of accomplishing this is dancing as one yin. Dancing as one yang is a nice move if you're willing to master it. But dancing as one yin is what truly defines Yumi. It has great damage potential and leads into Aerial Rave. Aerial Rave is special because it has a minimum damage scale, allowing Yumi to inflict absurd damage with proper resources. Also, it's unburstable. Yumi can force unfortunate opponents to eat her damage like a glacier falling from the sky. You can burst after getting hit by an assist, but Yumi can time it to block in time. She can even finish off with a cross combo. And that's just how much damage she does accounting for burst. Everything before makes her hard to deal with, but this is truly why you have to tread lightly. Start praying if she pops resonance on you, especially if you're solo. Even if she doesn't combo you, you better have a good answer to EX Snowbird stack. Conclusion. I'll at least say this. I get it. Senran Kagura was requested more than anything else, and Arxis really didn't want Yumi to disappoint. But let's be honest. This Ice Ninja is horribly unfun to fight against. She has incredibly lenient execution, she can zone you out, and she can brute force herself onto you really easily. Even when you're winning against her, she breaks the typical rules so badly that it doesn't feel like you won the game, so to speak. So what can be done to make her more balanced? Firstly, Aerial Rave's unburst ability is overkill. I think the idea of having an attack allow for guaranteed corner carry is a nice idea, but the combos it allows are way too hard to play against. It'd be best to change just the last hit. Get rid of its unburstable attribute, and increase the recovery time for both Yumi and her opponent. This would make it just as strong for corner carry and pressure setups, and it would make opponents actually able to choose to burst out of the combo if necessary. Next is 2A. 2A's 0 on block status isn't egregious, though it is questionable. But being a jump cancel move really has to go. Weiss, Chia, and Jube can jump cancel their low attacks, but not into an instant overhead. Some of the unit's fighters can use instant overheads after their lows, but getting there in the first place is quite hard. Yumi has the easiest time transitioning from lows to highs, and it's needless. She already has S-tier stagger pressure. That's enough. Finally, her 6P is way too strong for what it's worth. It's the B version of Snowbird when it really should be the A version. Yes, that would make it faster and therefore harder to dodge, but it gives way too much reward on hit as it is right now. It's only worse than Elizabeth's 6P, but even then, that's a horrible point character. This is one of the best characters in the game, and she doesn't deserve to have such a busted 6P. Honestly, I think this character has the makings of a fair but absolutely powerful top tier. And I genuinely think that my nerf ideas would make everybody love both fighting as her and against her. But first we have to have those nerfs happen. Please, Arc System, give us BBTAG 3.0. This video game is my life now, and I desperately need what I've been waiting for almost 3 years!